30 Pop
Network.
Okay, welcome to another episode of Capes and Whiskey. I'm Chris Stanfield here with the ever handsome Tim Miller.
Oh, well, thank you.
It's a compliment intro.
Compliments are always good at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Sure.
Start your day off right.
So today we are talking a little bit. I'm just going to dive right in here.
Do it.
No pleasantries. Well, there can be some pleasantries. But today we're talking about movie and entertainment and comic book, all kinds of news, all kinds of new happenings in the superhero and just geeky sci-fi world. I don't know, Tim, what do you think about including sci-fi as part of comics? Do you consider them one and the same, or are they in a different realm to you?
You mean like movies versus comics, or just the sci-fi genre in general?
There's a sci-fi genre. Would you group that in with, comic nerdery? Or would you say it's like its own, like Star Trek versus Star Wars? Are they two different things?
I don't think so. I mean, I think in comics, authors can actually go a bit more in depth than you can like a movie or TV show, and things last a lot longer, to tell the same story. So you can kind of get inside the characters' heads a little bit more. But as far as the genre itself, I mean, I think they're fantastic sci-fi comics, and they're great movies too. I never was like a huge Star Trek or Star Wars fan, but
really, if you had to pick one, which would it be?
Star Wars.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Didn't want to kick you off the show.
No. I did watch occasionally.
Star Trek movies are great.
Yeah, I actually loved the most recent Star Trek movie, and I really liked it a lot. I've watched it a couple times now. Some of it I don't quite understand because like I said, I didn't really watch the show that much, but I loved the action. The visuals were awesome.
I thought they lent themselves, though, to people like us who were, just kind of aware of it but didn't know the backstory.
Yeah, right. I watched it with my brother-in-law who did watch the show a lot, and he was kind of filling me in. I was like, what's going on here? What dimension of the world, or all that kind of stuff. And he was explaining it quite well, but it was easy to follow, and that was good. And I think that's what they should do when they, I think they should cater to the huge fans, but they should also make it to where people like you and I can just jump right in and not have to do a lot of research beforehand.
Right, because there's just so many different levels of specific nerd. I mean, we're a nerd in one way, but
right,
not in the Star Wars way, which I don't know if we think we're cooler because of that. I'm going to say yes, we are cooler.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, what do you think, since we're just talking about this real quick, what do you think about the upcoming Star Wars movie, which is, probably going to be the biggest movie of a lot of people's lives?
Pretty much, yeah.
It's already getting so much hype. Got a great director behind it. What do you think? Is it going to suck? Because I thought the last three Star Wars sucked.
Well, I agree with you. And the first trilogy, was perfect, obviously. And I don't know. I mean, J.J. Abrams is a great director. There's no doubt in that. He's had some fails along the way, but I think I have faith that someone like George Lucas would not just put it in anyone's hands. I mean, I think
True,
he is definitely behind. He is definitely behind all of the decisions in the movie, I believe. I mean, he no longer owns the company, but I still think, that's his baby. I don't think he's just going to let it go into people's hands and And Disney's a good company. They make good movies, and I think it is in good hands. And I feel like, I mean, you're always going to get those fans that say it sucks, no more Jar Jar Binks, and all that kind of stuff. But
right, those were not good decisions.
No, well, they weren't. I agree, and I don't know what
Oswald killed it when he was. Sorry, just from exactly what you were saying. Patton Oswalt was like, we love all these characters like Darth Vader and Boba Fett and Luke Skywalker and all this stuff, but we don't care about them as kids. It's like we want to see the actual evil characters and Darth Vader in the suit. We don't want to see him as like a child just kind of being scared.
Yeah, I mean, it was cool to kind of see that origin, and how he became Darth Vader and all that kind of stuff. There were certain parts about it.
That's what I said.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, but I don't know. I'm a little iffy about it. I mean, I'll definitely watch it when it comes out, but I think it's in good hands, and I don't think, I think they're probably going to get death threats if they screw it up.
Right, and it's not like it's a Michael Bay route or someone that would just be terrible. And Disney does want to make a lot of. I always see Disney as like they want to make a lot of money, so they're going to try and make this as good as possible so that it keeps spanning on for they can make 10 more movies from it.
Well, and then I think that's actually their idea. I mean, they're thinking about like offshoots, like a Boba Fett movie, which would be awesome, by the way.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, and more comics, and so I mean they're branching out into. I mean, there actually is actually 2 or 3 current Star Wars comics, I believe, but. I think that is their idea, is to have different writers and directors come in and just start. I mean, that whole Star Wars world is just. I mean, George Lucas himself, I read once, said that there's just hundreds and hundreds of stories waiting to be told in that world, and so
right,
it's a franchise that'll never stop. I don't believe.
Agreed, and we can technically talk about it on the show because Darth Vader wears a cape.
Hey, there you go. There you go.
And we know that Billy T. Williams, Lando Calrissian, loves whiskey. His old commercials were technically Colt 45, but
now let's ask this question: do you believe Darth Vader is? I mean, he's obviously a villain.
You mean Hayden Christensen?
Yeah. Do you believe that? This is kind of going back to the sci-fi thing, that those kinds of things could be considered superheroes? Like Luke Skywalker, is he a superhero?
I think so. I mean, he's got the Jedi. He's got sweet weapons, obviously the lightsaber. He's a great fighter. He has got like the Jedi mind tricks. He can move things with his mind. That's a superpower.
I agree with you. I'm glad you said it.
Science version of superheroes.
I agree, and I think that's why I think that sci-fi belongs in that same. I don't think they're different at all.
Absolutely. So anyone tuning in right now, they're like, "Why aren't they talking about Spider-Man?" You got to embrace everything because
that's right. We cater to all.
For some reason. That's right. We cater to all. Okay, speaking of Spider-Man, probably going to, like I said today, we're just talking about news and current happenings and future movies in the comic world. Spider-Man 2. What's your gut reaction, Tim, based on everything we know?
Man, after seeing everything, promos and villains, the only thing I'm worried about, I think they're introducing too many villains at once. But it's awesome, and it's also not awesome at the same time, because I love villains almost sometimes more than the actual superhero. But right. I think that you can get in trouble if you're introducing a lot of just even small cameos that you can't focus on one story. You're kind of just throwing a lot of things out there.
That's the thing. The story usually suffers if they're just jamming all this crap in there.
And that's what I'm worried about. I mean, there looks like some awesome stuff. I mean, the visuals look incredible. I mean, I think seeing that movie like in 3D would be amazing. But that's the only thing I'm really apprehensive about is how many villains they're talking about introducing in there. And which I think their plan is to do more movies, keep the franchise going. So the more villains they introduce, the more kind of offshoots they can do in the future, and tie it into the whole Marvel universe and stuff like that. But
right, that's the thing. Hopefully they're, like you said, hopefully they're just setting it up, and we're not, because in the preview they showed Doctor Octopus's armor and the Vulture and all these characters. You're like, there's already confirmed Green Goblin, Electro, Rhino,
Yep.
And they just introduced BJ Novak's character, the Spider Slayer.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's 4 villains in one movie already. It's ridiculous.
I know. I mean, I agree with you. I think it's too many. I mean,
unless they're like all totally working together and it's, some kind of beautiful harmony. But I don't know. I am the most pumped. I'd say the villain I'm most pumped for is the Green Goblin, because the actor, don't know his name off the top of my head, but all of his previews have just looked amazing.
Yeah, I agree with you. You're a bit more into Spider-Man than I am, so you have a bit more knowledge, but I think it looks cool. The visuals look incredible. I think it's the best one that they've made so far.
Right, yeah. I think Electro, too, just all the crazy stuff that we've seen that he can do will be cool.
So it's not Willem Dafoe, is it, playing Green Goblin?
No.
He played in the last one.
He is like the Green Goblin's father, basically.
Oh, okay.
Norman Oswald, I believe. In the last one, who was like James Franco's dad.
Yeah.
The original Green Goblin. This one, they might just be foregoing that. Or, getting super nerdy here, they are, which is what we're supposed to do.
It's the show, man. We're nerds.
They say that, he's like dying in all the scenes that we've seen, so maybe they'll give him some type of medicine that will actually mutate him into, the Hobgoblin. Because there is the difference of the Green Goblin and the Hobgoblin. The Hobgoblin is actually like a monster mutant. The Green Goblin's, just this guy in a robot suit, basically.
And we got Jamie Foxx as Electro. That's kind of cool. I like Jamie Foxx a lot. I think he's a really good, versatile actor, and I think this should be cool.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah.
Everything I've seen of his, too, from being the wimpy, nerdy guy to the, godlike electric person.
And then Paul Giamatti as Rhino. That's awesome.
That's amazing.
Love him. Love him.
See, I don't know what kind of... It almost looks a little bit cheesy with his, he's in a jumpsuit and doing this, over-the-top accent. I love the Rhino, but I don't know.
Yep. And let's see, we got also, Andrew Garfield, obviously, as Spider-Man, and Emma Stone. Chris Cooper, I don't know who that is.
Chris Cooper.
Dane DeHaan. Felicity Jones, BJ Novak, Sally Field.
Oh, finally, Sally Field. Well, yeah. Sally Field's...
That's his mom, yeah. Right?
The aunt.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, it's his aunt. His parents are dead.
That's right.
Supposedly.
Cool.
So, yeah, that's a big, I don't know, maybe for everyone. I think people are optimistic and hoping it's cool, but then a lot of elements that could go wrong. Because the first one, as I think everyone kind of agrees, was average at best.
Yeah.
Spider-Man, super pumped. And that was actually coming out fairly soon. The Batman, I don't know how much we should talk about it because it's 2 years away, and that's very upsetting.
It is. I mean, they recently delayed it a year, and originally the story was that Ben Affleck got injured, but now I've also heard that they want to have, quote, more time to envision what their idea is. So we'll see.
Right. So what do you think that means? Script problems, scheduling, money? Hopefully it's not the script.
I don't think it's the script. I mean, you got David Goyer, who wrote the Batman trilogy. The script's in good hands. And I don't know. I mean, really, I don't think it's really any of those. I think it's more or less just they want to not mess it up, and so give it plenty of time to kind of develop. And It could be some scheduling issues with some of the actors. We'll see. I don't know.
Right. But us psychos want it out now.
I agree. I'm so pumped. So pumped for this movie, especially after hearing some recent news, which I texted you about this morning, that there will be a heavy influence of Frank Miller's Dark Knight Returns on Batman versus Superman. And any of you nerdy, geeky comic book guys know The Dark Knight Returns is one of the greatest Batman stories, if not the greatest Batman story ever written. And
you think Affleck's gonna plump up a little bit?
Oh, have you seen him lately?
Getting that, well, not just strong, but I feel like Frank Miller's Batman's like heavy.
Oh, it is. And I think that's what they're going for. I mean, they said he's obviously going to be an older guy and in the movie, like much older than Superman, and gritty, dirty. I mean, which is exactly the Frank Miller way. And I personally love it. I think on the last episode we talked about how much more grittier, like, you know, the suit wasn't all this tactical kind of stuff. It was just Frank was, the way he drew him in that comic was, it's just he's this big badass dude. I mean, he doesn't rely on all of these crazy. I mean, he does have a lot of cool gadgets. I mean, he has the tank, obviously, which was badass, but but I'm excited for it, man. And I think now I will say, when I first heard that Ben Affleck became on as Batman, I was not excited about it. But you changed my mind, and the more I sort of read more about it, went back and just thought about it, I really think he's going to kill it. I really do. Right.
And especially embracing the old and that he's older, and I don't know, just all of his career moves up to this point. And him as a person, like in interviews talking about it, you're like, okay, he gets it.
Yeah, I think he does. And Kevin Smith, I mean, which is one of Ben's best friends, I mean, he, of course, would be a little bit biased, but Kevin is one of the, like, Batman, I wouldn't call him an expert, but, you know.
Yeah, he's probably an expert.
He has an entire show dedicated just to Batman.
Harley Quinn, so.
Exactly. He named his daughter after one of the characters. That's right. So, I mean, and if he's seen him in the suit, and he's telling us that the suit is something that we've never, ever seen before on screen, and so I'm stoked for it, man. I think that I liked Man of Steel. It was okay. I mean, I'm not a huge Superman fan. Yes, you can kill me now, but I think the guy's overrated. But I
don't think anyone would kill you.
Well, those hardcore Superman fans out there, I mean, I'm sorry, but anyways.
Yeah. I had a Superman epiphany today.
Oh, yeah?
Okay. Just bear with me for a second. The newest Superman movie, he's like kind of socially awkward and backwards and, you know, just a quiet loner type of guy. And that's what they've been trying to do. They're trying to make him like dark and brooding, like Batman, obviously.
Yeah.
But if you think back about it, and the latest episode of Comic Book Man helped me think of this, what if Superman was like super cool and debonair and just very likable, you know, just the all-American guy that everyone could get behind? I think that's a way they should go Superman in the future.
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
like,
but
what are you, some ungrateful a-hole with all these powers and you're so burdened and all this stuff? Like, no, embrace it. Be awesome. Be a hero. Be, you know, a ladies' man. All the cool stuff you want to see.
Well, and I think that's they were trying to in the first movie. I think that's probably where they went wrong. It was more like, I don't want this stuff. I don't want this life, and you know, my personal opinion is that I believe he's too overpowered. I just feel like he can constantly just get beat up and doesn't suffer in any way. And
right.
But people say, well, his suffering is him living with this thing that he had no control over, and that's his internal suffering, and that's what we should deal with. But I mean, going back to like Frank Miller's Batman, Dark Knight Returns, I mean, there's so much, like, Frank's great at writing internal dialogue, and in that whole entire comic, you feel how much Batman, like, when he's getting hurt, he's like, I got to power through, I'm not in good shape right now, and and that's the kind I want to feel like the superhero is suffering, both mentally and physically, and I feel like Superman most of the time is no physical suffering at all. They didn't really show that, I don't believe, in the first Man of Steel movie.
A little bit, but yeah. That just adds to his blandness, I think, in people's minds.
But I think your idea would be cool, though. That would be kind of cool. Just embrace it. All-American hero. Let's go. G.I. Joe, Had to throw that in there. Yes, G.I. Joe.
Speaking of disappointing movies.
Actually, ever since you told me, I've still not seen it because you told me it sucked, and I kind of don't. Because G.I. Joe was basically my entire childhood. And Ninja Turtles. And so if I watch that movie and it sucks, I'm going to be really upset.
My parents did not like gun things, so I could never have G.I. Joes because they had guns.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So when kids would, bring them to school, I'd be like, whoa, 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 what's this? So
did you sneak them? Did you hey, dude, can I just have that and play with it?
I just kind of went other direction. I was my big ones when I was a kid were Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
As the Ghostbuster toys, obviously. He-Man, Ninja Turtles, pretty much like everyone else. I just never did the G.I. Joe thing. I don't know. And then, the kids that were older than me in school, that were kind of white trashy mean, they were all about G.I. Joe, so I was like, I'm staying away from G.I. Joe. You know how it is.
Yeah, yeah. Now, I was into He-Man, too. He-Man's awesome. And the first Masters in the Universe movie was awesome. Skeletor's.
No, don't say that.
It was awesome. It's cheesy as hell. I mean, obviously, but Skeletor scared the shit out of me. So
yes, it was way too scary for kids who had grown up on the cartoon and you just basically wanted the toys.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they make this weird sci-fi scary thing.
Yeah.
And there's always talks of another He-Man coming out, but
that's what I've heard. Yeah.
I used to believe it. Was it Ang Lee, the guy who did the first Hulk movie? He was in charge of it for a long time, and then he dropped out. And it seems like one of those projects, that they'll just talk about for 10 years and nothing will happen.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
who would be a good He-Man?
I don't know. That's what I was actually about to ask you. I'm trying to think who would be an awesome He-Man. I mean, Dolph Lundgren did a pretty good job, I think, in the first movie.
Yeah, I mean, he looked the part.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's hard to think of a big... I mean, my mind's going to someone like a Kellen Lutz or, just someone who's physically like He-Man. Because you couldn't have just some dude.
Jason Statham?
Jason Statham? I don't know.
Yeah.
I see him as more of a Skeletor. I see Jason Statham as a good villain.
That could be interesting, yeah.
I don't know. Maybe that could be our project next week. We cast
the new He-Man movie
in our mind.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, like I said, we won't dwell too much on Batman because
we got a couple years on that movie.
And I feel like we'll burn I'm already trying to not be burnt out on reading everything about it. Because when it finally comes out, you'd be like, oh, I've been working my whole life for this.
Well, the two biggest superheroes in the entire planet in the same movie, I feel like that's why they're taking their time, because they don't want to mess it up. We still don't have an official title yet. Everybody keeps calling it Batman versus Superman, but that's not been confirmed ever. And
they said that's basically what it is. So,
yeah. So, and the logo is the Frank Miller logo, Batman. So, anyways, let's move on. Yeah, we got 2 years to talk about that movie. So,
okay, our next one that's kind of coming out faster, lesser known, but Ant-Man. What do you think of Ant-Man?
Actually, I don't know much about the Ant-Man character. You I think have a lot more knowledge about that than I do, but it looks cool. They've shown clips of or not clips, but just pictures of the suit, and
Is that confirmed this suit?
I don't
actually?
know. I don't know if it
That's
is or not,
something-
but it looks awesome, actually.
Yeah. We got Paul Rudd.
Interesting
Mike Rudd.
choice, I would say. I like Paul a lot, and I
Yeah.
think he's done some
that we don't really
diverse.
care about. I'm fine with it.
Yeah,
You wouldn't want him going in there being Batman or
right, right.
one of the big guys because he's Paul Rudd. He's not this character.
Well, and I think from what my knowledge of Ant-Man is that it is a bit of a comical kind of character in a way. Is that right?
Not specifically, but obviously with Edgar Wright directing, the guy who did
Right.
Shaun of the Dead and all the comedies,
Right.
it's probably going to have a lot of that type of humor, which is fine.
Yeah. So I think that could be he could be a good choice. I mean, because Paul's had some serious roles that he's actually done very well in, I think, and so
Right. We haven't seen him really in action though. This is going to be all action.
That's true. That's true.
So you're ready for Paul Rudd kicking some ass,
Kicking some
shrinking,
ass.
growing.
What was the movie that he was in that had the Kiss Army at the end?
Oh yeah, the two with Sean William Scott.
Yeah.
I don't remember. It was not that funny, but it was all right.
Well, the last scene was awesome when they got the Kiss Army together and did the role playing and all that kind
They
of
were
stuff.
LARPing, yes.
Yeah.
Have you ever LARPed in real life?
No.
No? I always thought it'd be fun to try once.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying I'm against it at all, but
It was always like the mutants of the school. They were like out in the quad hitting each other with like foam swords and stuff.
Right.
Good God, when you walk by, but then internally you're like, oh, that might be kind of fun.
well, I mean, whenever we do get our dream vacation of going to San Diego Comic-Con, that'll be our
Yes.
chance.
True. There's a Chicago Con coming up. I was going to approach you about. It's
Oh, yeah?
Walking Dead themed Comic Con type of deal
Sweet. When is it?
next month.
Hmm.
I'll email you the details.
Okay.
The comic book men people are going to be there though.
Oh, I'm there.
Love the comic book men.
Love that show. Absolutely love that show.
So does Hulu get that one updated as well?
I actually don't know. I've caught up. Wait a minute. Have I watched recent? I haven't watched this season, which it just came out, I believe.
All right, I think this is season 3.
Right. I'm completely caught up on the first two, but I did that mostly on Netflix,
Mm-hmm.
and so I don't know. I'll have to check.
Great show though. I mean, I see that as just as much of as important influence as superhero shows. The people talking about it and living it.
Yeah, I mean Walt Flanagan, Kevin's best friend. I mean that's all of Kevin's friends. Everybody on that show is just Kevin's friends, and that's Kevin. His dream basically was to open up a comic book shop, and then Walt is a comic book artist himself, published artist, and I mean it's great. Their knowledge of all things comics is just nuts, and that the store just looks awesome. I would love to go there anytime we're in
I would
Jersey.
think that too. That would be like so much fun. I wonder if it's really like on TV though.
Well, it's. I'm sure a lot of it's set up. I mean, they obviously have to set it up. They have to know who's coming in, and do some research and stuff like that. But, but I think the way the store is set up, and just being able to hang out with those guys would be cool. Which we don't know how much even those guys are around the store that much.
I was going to say.
Yeah.
See, I'm only thinking this because the pawn shop show, what's it called? Pawn Stars.
Pawn Stars.
Yeah, that's a big attraction now. It's like they don't even work in the store. They say in real life the store's like super tiny. You gotta
Well,
wait,
it
like,
is.
2 hours to get in.
My wife Jennifer and I went to Vegas back in 2010, I think it was, and that was a part of our little mini vacation there. She was on business, I was on pleasure, just hanging out. And that kind of sounded really
You were on
bad.
Pleasure Patrol.
Yeah. So, but at the end of our trip, we went to the store, waited in line for approximately an hour or so. But You're right. The store is incredibly small. Like, you see it on TV, and you actually see it in person, and it's ridiculous. It was.
Were any of the people from the show there?
No, there was nobody from the show there.
I feel like it would be like at Jay and Silent Bob's. They'd be like, "Oh, I'm coming in to talk to Ming Chen,"
Yeah.
They're like, "Get the hell out of here."
So we were really disappointed. Like, we had a few books that we wanted to sell to the pawn shop that were kind of older, and thought that they might be worth something. So we went online, contacted.
Did you bring these to Vegas?
Yeah, but beforehand, that's what they say. If you want to be on the show, you have to contact the producers, and then they have to approve it, and all this kind of stuff. And so it's a whole process, and I'm sure that Comic Book Men show is exactly the same way. But in a way, I kind of feel like obviously a pawn shop is different than a comic book store. I mean, anybody can run a pawn shop, I believe. And I don't know. But, I don't know. I mean, that's their love. That's what they love to do. And I feel like they're just as much nerds and geeks as anybody else, and they're just living their dream. I think the Pawn Star, like, the money and, like, fame has gone to their head, and they're just kind of, do whatever. But
would you blame them? I mean, if you were like, I could work in this disgusting pawn shop for 10 hours or go do a public appearance now that I'm famous for 20 grand.
Yeah. I know.
That's what we got to get, Tim. That's the level we got to hit.
That's right.
And people call us sellouts, but we won't care.
Money, 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 money.
Already made the sale. Okay. Another one I want to talk about is coming out very soon, and I'm just not jazzed at all. Sorry. Captain America, The Winter Soldier.
I liked the first movie a lot.
I love the first movie.
Yeah, the first movie was my only issue with it was it felt a little bit kind of that last sort of scene where he thought he was going to die and all that kind of stuff. What was the movie I was comparing it to? It was a little bit cheesy toward the end, but I really liked the first movie a lot. From what I'm seeing from the second movie, I'm into it a little bit more than you are. I don't know. I'm a little excited for it. I mean, it's not on top of my list of movies I want to see, but
right. I mean, I'm definitely going to see it. Be hopefully, happy with it. It's just it doesn't wow me in any way. I just feel like Marvel's built up so much, and they've got all these great characters now. I don't know. Like I tell you many times, it just seems like it's going to be like G.I. Joe.
Yeah. Now, do you feel like of course, Marvel has like their own like movie and TV department now, and do you feel like they've got their hands in too many things, so they can't really focus on making one or two things really great?
They are not at Duck Dynasty level yet, but I feel like they are approaching.
I mean, you've got the Flash movie coming out, or the Flash TV show. You've got, Captain America 2. Spider-Man 2. What else?
Spider-Man is Sony.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Well,
Sony's
but it still is Marvel property, though, right?
No, I don't think so.
Oh.
I think they do the comic aspect of it, but all like TV and media and movies are Sony.
Yeah, and then you got Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Because Spider-Man's supposed to be in the Avengers. He's supposed to be one of the main people.
Yeah, that's true.
Damn, Sony. They do make a good TV, though.
Yeah, and then, like I said, they've got Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. on now, which I stopped watching because it kind of sucked. But people are saying it's gotten a lot better, and I kind of want to go back and catch up. But at the same time, I'm watching other things now.
I think it's like music. Like if you watch it enough, it'll be like, okay, I can accept this.
Yeah. Well, Stan Lee recently made an appearance in the last episode I saw, and I read an interview with him saying that he felt that probably what everybody's problem with the show is that there's not enough superheroes in the show. It's more or less just these agents doing these missions and stuff like that. And that was my issue with the show at first, was that I did not care about the characters. And when I don't care about the main characters, I'm going to quit watching. You have to make me care, like, emotionally about them. And I didn't at all. And so...
Right.
Give me some superheroes.
I tried very hard several times, and it was just like a bad CSI,
So I got some news.
Okay.
So Ben McKenzie was just cast as James Gordon in the new Gotham TV show, which is looking very promising. From the things I've read, this is a TV show I think I'm most excited about that's coming out this fall.
Yeah, it could be very cool.
They say it has...
any appearances of Batman on it?
I'm sorry?
Will there be any Batman appearances?
Bruce Wayne, yeah. It's Bruce. The whole thing is a Bruce Wayne origin story. It's a Batman origin story is what they're going for. Originally, when it was first announced, people thought it was a James Gordon TV show. Mm-hmm. And but what they have, the recent news, which got me really excited, is that it's basically a Batman origin story. The final episode of the TV series will be Batman putting on his cape. And so they are going to do villains. All of the major villains will make appearances and will be the origins of how the villains got started in Gotham, which I think is awesome. Like That's Penguin, great. Joker, the Riddler, like all of our favorite Batman villains.
So this is very much like a Smallville type of situation?
Yeah, that's what they're comparing it to. And then they also said that they're going with the more darker, like Nolan trilogy type Gotham City, which is awesome. I mean, obviously, because the trilogy's awesome. And darker, less campy stuff is what I'm totally into. And I think Ben McKenzie was going to kill it as Gordon.
He's good.
Yeah. I thought it was a really good casting. And we don't have the Bruce Wayne casting yet, but I think they said he's going to start out around age 12 to 14. And then as the series goes on, obviously gets older, and then he finally puts on the cape in the very last episode. So,
okay.
It looks really, really promising. So,
yeah, I'm hopeful for it. I just feel like S.H.I.E.L.D. was a good indication that these shows about superheroes without superheroes might not work.
Yes, but
hopefully this is another direction.
Well, I think it is, because they're going to give us all those villains. I mean, they're giving us all the famous villains that we love.
So, like, Joker's actually going to be in
That's what I heard. I said they mentioned all of the famous Batman villains will make appearances, and you will see their origin as to how they become, like, the villains.
This is on Fox?
This is on Fox.
They're shelling out a lot of money for this.
Yeah.
To get the rights to these characters, I'm sure that's what's holding back everyone.
Yeah.
And the, makeup or effects to actually create them, so
yeah,
that's awesome.
I'm excited for it, really. It says this fall sometime, so we'll see.
Cool. Okay, what, any other big ones coming out? I mean, my only other one I really wanted to say was Planet of the Apes.
Oh, yeah.
Not specifically superhero, but it fits in the genre of, obviously it's sci-fi.
Yeah.
It just looks like a whole new direction. Just, crazy war, great effects, action. And the guy from Batman, Jim Gordon, is one of the main characters.
Gary Oldman, that's right.
Gary Oldman, yes.
Which is awesome, by the way. I'm excited for this movie, man. The preview, I mean, it just gives you just enough to be like, yes, cannot wait.
Right. If one of my top movies is the old Planet of the Apes, and then when they remade it with Mark Wahlberg, I thought that was okay, kind of too wacky, and it like flopped at the box office. And now this new one did all right, and I didn't really care for it very much. I mean, I don't know.
I didn't watch it actually, so I haven't seen it yet.
It's worth a watch. And if you're going to see the second one, you should probably definitely see it.
Yeah, I will. And you're a huge Planet of the Apes fan, so
gigantic. My dream one day is to have a suit from the Planet of the Apes movie in my house.
Nice.
So one time when I was a kid, I went to Planet Hollywood and they had one. It's like the greatest day of my life.
You can put it next to the night.
Next to the Ah, yes. Wouldn't that be fun though to have like
dude,
suits from like your favorite movies?
Well, there was I don't know if you've seen this or not. It was actually on an episode of Comic Book Man where this guy has like a real life bat cave.
Yes, that was the first episode of the new season.
Oh, okay. I just saw a
So
little
good.
clip of it, and oh my god, that would be my dream. I mean, he had like an actual suit, I think, from the trilogy, the Nolan trilogy, there, and I mean,
Yeah. Well, it's like, if you haven't seen it, you go into this guy's basement and you like push the head of a statue like in the original Batman TV show, and his grandfather clock opens up. You can't even see it, and you go into this whole different area that's like the Batcave, and it looks like rock, and it's a big theater, big computers. I mean, this guy had to spend
geeking out. Yes, that I mean,
100,000 on doing this
easily
on a room that's hidden, but yeah,
so badass. Yeah,
dream.
exactly. But we have wives and lives.
I was gonna say, the wives would rather have us paint the foyer than paint the basement to look like a Batcave.
I'm struggling just to buy my comics every
Well.
month. So,
Well, that's part of being an adult, Tim.
I know.
The more-
Unfortunately,
But one day, you've got to keep that one day in mind.
one
'Cause
day.
as I sit here in my basement right now, I've got a whole shelf devoted to my Scarecrow toys, which is a dream,
I know, and I'm slowly but surely adding to my toy collection now.
Right, and you're sitting next to a shelf of toys as well.
That's right. I have
Look at us.
my
We're on our
UFC figures, BJ
Oh
Penn.
boy.
That's another little nerdy side of me is watching men beat the shit out of each other.
That is something else.
And then I have the only second in existence
Uh-oh.
suit comic book character
Wow.
that we will talk about sometime on the show soon.
Someday.
Which is
That would be good. We could talk about our prep for the Comic Fest that we're going to be at,
Yep.
and then how that goes.
so
maybe
we
even
won't
some
give
type
any
of
we won't give
podcast.
any hints away now, but it's something in development by Mr. Chris Stanfield.
That was a crowd.
That's right.
And then
yeah.
a gorilla came in.
And then I think one of my most current prized possessions is my new Batman black and white statue, which
Why do we get such joy out of these toys? Like, I'm literally sitting here right now playing with
I know, I've been seeing you. The Daryl Dixon doll over there.
subconsciously, but why do we get such joy from it? I mean, obviously, non-nerds and women don't understand.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, why do we love it so much? What does it do? I think it makes us it keeps us kids at heart always,
Right.
And that's the great thing about superheroes is that, it's like you want to be Batman or you want to be Superman, or if you really want to, you could be Daryl Dixon, But
You're on a Daryl Dixon kick. You need to start watching Dead, my friend.
I know, man. We're
'Cause
trying
when you
to
do, that's one of our episodes, All Dead.
We're catching up on Breaking Bad right now, and then Walking Dead is next. But
Oh, my dear Lord. You're going to become obsessed.
I'm sure I will. I mean, I like zombie stuff, so I'm sure it's great.
You liked Lost. The most thing I can compare it to is like Lost.
Okay.
Except much better action and violence.
Cool. Yeah, I did love Lost, actually. I hated the ending, but, the show was good.
I was never a Lost watcher. I only did a little bit with Holly just to kind of know. But, like every week, I feel like in Lost they would like divulge all these old things from like original seasons. There'd be like some dude standing in the brush. Holly'd be like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah.
Like, who's that? She's like, "That's Ben's grandpa's friend. He was in episode 3.
Right.
He ate a sandwich." I'm like, "Oh my, this is exciting."
Well, I think they missed the mark on a few things by giving us things and not answering. They didn't answer every question, which in some way is okay, I guess. But
Right.
there was still some mystery to the show, which is good. But we kind of pinpointed the ending early on, Jennifer and I. So, yeah.
That was part of the fun, though, not knowing, It was like, are they going to be rescued or find out they're all dead or,
Yeah.
And then once you know, you're just like, oh, okay.
Well, there was an episode of our other podcast that we're on, insert pop culture reference here, that we talked about sort of watching a show in like live real time, like week to week episodes versus streaming them and just watching whole seasons in a day kind of thing, and how much that changes your perception of the characters. Like, do you feel as invested in the show? And then when the ending happens, were you completely blown away? Because, Lost, I mean, Jennifer and I spent years of our life watching this show,
Right.
And so you're emotionally invested where you're waiting 6 months to 8 months for a new season to happen, when you can go and watch The Walking Dead, you can watch all 3 seasons, like right in a row, and not have to wait. And so,
right, we've become that, though. I mean, I
think that is the culture we live in now. I agree. So, but I mean, you can go, if you guys want to listen to that episode, just insert pop culture reference here on iTunes and find the one where we talk about TV. I don't know, I don't remember the name of it, but we go a little bit more in depth over there.
Through all the shows.
Yeah, yeah. Listen to them all. But.
So we're a spinoff of Insert Pop.
Yes, we are.
We're the child of Insert Pop.
Well, we wanted our own show where we could talk about our own geeky things. We can talk about the toys that we play with, our Scarecrow collections.
Right. We can just be so happy with ourselves.
Yes. And so we go a little bit more in depth here. So that's what Capes and Whiskey's all about. So.
Woo!
Woo!
That and living clean.
And not drinking whiskey at 10 o'clock in the morning when we're recording.
I know, we really disappointed ourselves for this episode, but maybe we can drink tonight in honor of it.
We will.
And
we'll
drink
tonight.
Will just imagine.
Episode 2.
I mean, they don't know. We could say we're drinking it right now.
Well, I'm currently drinking black coffee that could be spiked with whiskey. But
yeah. God, I tried black coffee. Too bitter and nasty. Even Starbucks, it's just like, ugh. I don't know.
Well, I just recently switched, or actually the first start of this year, because I, trying to go the healthy route and get rid of sugar and all that kind of stuff. And it took me a couple weeks to get used to it, but I actually like it now. So.
Right. That's what I don't know. Is it like drinking beer? Like you just drank enough of it and you're like,
yeah.
I like this now?
Yeah, I can drink beer now, no problem, but I used to hate beer.
I think everyone did. I think very few people start off like, oh, this is delicious.
True story. My college roommate, Brett Yount is his name. We purposely bought cases of beer and would drink them every single night just to get to like them. Because, of course, you go to college parties and everyone has a beer. I mean, there's occasionally whiskey and vodka and all that kind of stuff, but beer's the cheap route to go. If you just want to get hammered, you just grab beer. And so, him and I both,
red cups.
Yeah, there's kegs everywhere. Him and I both hated beer, so we just basically forced ourselves to like it by buying a case and drink one or two, at night, and just trying to get it. And even during that time, I never could get into it, and so.
Really?
Yeah. It just always, and maybe it was the wrong beer. That's.
What was it?
I actually can't remember now that I'm thinking about it. But recently,
like a name brand beer?
Do what?
Was it like name brand or was it something?
No, it was name brand. I don't Michelob maybe or something like that. But I can't remember. But recently, you turned me on to Busch Light and Busch, which is currently my favorite beer of choice.
There's a new Busch Copper that just came out.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
And here's the difference, though, is that Busch, to me, actually tastes like beer compared to other ones that kind of just taste like watered down, water, or something.
Yeah, I think a Coors Light is very watery, which, I don't know, sometimes you're in the mood for that, but I agree with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, Busch has got a little bit more of the brisky, I don't know, beer flavor.
Yeah, it has a good flavor to it, and so
Everyone else listening, like, these two are idiots.
Well, it is called Capes and
Drinking
Whiskey,
Heineken.
so we have to throw some sort of alcoholic story in there. We are not alcoholics, by the way.
No, not usually.
Not usually.
But, yeah, that's funny you say that. I remember drinking, in college and going to a party and, someone would give you a cup of beer and just be like, this is awful. Why would you drink this? And then, a few more and then you find out why.
Exactly.
Amazing.
But it's also, you wanted to be a part of the crowd, so you do what's going on. You have a red Solo cup in your hand, and you just drink, and you want to be cool. You want to be in the fraternity, kind of thing. So,
you live the idea of college or fun that you see in movies or you hear about. You're just like, this is what I should be doing.
That's right. Every college person should drink beer. I mean, that's kind of what you think. You go to college, you get fat, you drink beer,
There's something to it, though. I think everyone's right. It is fun.
It is fun. I mean, when you and I hang out, and when we're like drinking together and playing games, and talking geeky stuff. I mean, it's fun.
Mm-hmm. So take that, anti-alcohol ads.
There you go.
Take that, sobriety.
Capes and whiskey. So there's our weekly whiskey story for you right there.
Woo! What a story.
Yeah.
So, okay. Well, yeah, we can wrap it up here. There are still many things that we can talk about in the future that we didn't hit.
Oh, yeah. Plenty of stuff.
Along the lines, we've got Guardians of the Galaxy, Avengers, the new X-Men, all that stuff that we will definitely get to in the future. But been fun. Been open.
Yes, absolutely.
Felt good today.
Good conversation. And so we're not sure exactly when this episode will come out yet. So I would tell you to contact us and give us support, but we don't know when we'll be on the show. But anyways.
Yeah, they can do it at any time.
Yeah. But you can find this show on our website, which is we have
They already found us. They're listening right now.
That's right. But we are on the 30 Pop Network website, and which you heard at the very beginning of the episode. And we do have capesandwhiskey.com, but we don't have that up and running yet. So, anyways, is that it, dude?
That's it, dude. Good work.
Right. Yes, sir. So, you closing this out?
Whoa, this is painful. Yeah, thanks a lot for listening. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.